On the outside, Sharp Dazzler and Meat Piatti. Captain Fegel's gone. Jungle Prince is gone as well. It's on the inside, Texas Fireball. Now swallowed up by Sharp Dazzler. Sharp Dazzler appreciating the mile. Raced away over the final part.
Welcome to Bet Doctor, behind the curtain look at how pro punters operate. I'm your host, Scoot. Johnny Walters here with me, up and about.
I'm here. We're early. I got up early, ready for the day.
We've lost DK with the early start, so I've had to push the show a little bit closer. There's some really nice pictures of him in his pink Taylor Swift concert shirt, so he probably needs a bit of a spell after a big week at the MCG. Nico, you're a busy man at the moment, but pretty exciting Blue Diamond, Oakleigh Plate this weekend, and a little bit of Launceston, all into the Cup on Sunday, Wednesday double.
Yeah, it's busy at the moment. So, Caulfield looks ripper card on Saturday with the Blue Diamond, and then Launceston's heating up. They've got a big meeting on Sunday with, I think, the Oaks, and then Wednesday when we do the stream, we got the Cup Day there, which is looking like it's shaping up to be quite a good field. So, not keen to rip into that next Wednesday, but got to get through Saturday first because it looks a tricky day at Caulfield, but even around the grounds looks quite tricky as well. So, probably got to play a bit wary in a few of those races, I would have thought.
There's so much racing now later in the week that you nearly wish they'd bring fields out like Monday, Tuesday, because it's like, I know you like the old Monday, Tuesday semi-spell, but like Tuesday's quiet, and then all of a sudden from Wednesday on, it's like you just don't stop. It's crazy, but it's good. You don't have to bet on everything, do you?
The other thing is, like, it sort of ties into some of the news that's sort of just circulating around the tracks and things, and Nico and I were talking about it offline or in one of our private chats for the syndicate, but like with the Pakenham meeting now on the Thursday night, they've got the better racing program, so they got the Future Stars series. That makes it even harder to get the form done, I feel, like, because it's on that Thursday night, and then to watch it because all the fields are then out for like Friday and Saturday as well. They've sort of robbed the Wednesdays of all their all the good races.
They're trying to squash Wednesdays to
kill
a certain
racing
degree.
on Wednesdays.
That's what I mean. Like, fields coming out Tuesday, what does it really matter? Everyone knows what they're going to do. I don't know. It's a weird idea out of the blue, but I agree with you. Wednesdays, you just sort of, as we talked about a race in Brisbane, you sort of tune into the races you're involved in. Otherwise, it's just there's a lot of noise, especially like Sydney's. You get 3 or 4 meetings, and Thursday, Friday night, Canterbury, Saturday. It's relentless.
Yeah, like if you put your tinfoil hat on, you'd say it's nearly a blatant approach to pump Pakenham, and then say, oh, look at these Sandown fields. No one's really going there. They're small fields. It's garbage racing, and let's just put a bow on it and sell it, which seems like they're going to either sell Sandown or they're going to retain it, and there's no middle ground like a Moonee Valley revamp. It was an interesting point. Gay sort of come out again, double barrels. She's sort of the champion of not letting go of the assets. She said that no guarantee that punters will move their dollars away to a new track, and I think it's like a great point. I think she said it the same about Rosehill, and I'd sort of argue a similar case at Sandown. And I even saw, when I was sort of digging around for the news stories and things like that, Ollie mentioned in 2022 that in an interview on racing.com, he just said the last thing we need is another greyhound track in metro racing, which the middle track at Caulfield could be, which was a great point, and he's obviously got a lot of weight and understands it. And then
well, it's like the Kenzo. The Kenzo's like max 10 runners from most, and then they put the rail out 2 metres or something. It's like 9 runners. It's like, what? You say you're maxing out your fields at just over each way, so 2 scratchings, you're 2 places. It's pretty tough. I did hear a good story about Gay, which I'll say before I forget. Apparently this lady approaches her and says, oh, listen, I've been trying to be heard regarding the Rosehill thing. No one will listen to me. She's like, well, you come with me to the meeting. Don't worry, you'll get heard.
Wow.
She's on Parramatta Council, and they have not heard one thing about the Rosehill project. It's never gone through Rosehill, so Parramatta Council at all. It was sprung on them completely. And not only that, she can't be heard. So it's a very interesting, so the process in all of these things is quite incredible.
It's really funny. I think a Liberal member of Parliament said that there's already been a memorandum of understanding being drawn up, but they're at loggerheads because there's the ATC and the government. Chris Minns said in Parliament a couple of days ago, there's irreconcilable differences. So they're nowhere near it, and it looks like it's going to get absolutely squashed by the ATC unless there's a stitch up somewhere, but I can't see it. And be interested to see if the board at the ATC survives, but Minns
still
himself...
crickets from the big dog too.
Yeah, nothing from PVL, and Chris Minns says it's on thin ice. But the other strange part is with the 25,000 homes mooted. That's a higher density than the Melbourne CBD, and that's got 4 train stations that service, and there's a 5th one going down near Flinders Street as well.
And they haven't spoken to Parramatta Council about
it. Crazy times. We live in a crazy world. But
yet the press release was like, well, it was nearly as big as odds and evens. It was huge.
It was massive. Oh. It is just crazy. These short-term administrators, we nearly say it every week, but they've just completely lost touch of what's going on here. And the assets are always going to hold their value. And once you spend the money once, you're gone. There's no imagine just changing
assets.
your business model slightly and not just spewing cash all over the place as they are now at the moment.
Well, you say, I'm living 10 minutes from the city. I've got no real issues. I'm happy with life. Let's move to the boondocks. Like, isn't it the logic test? I don't understand. Like, you shouldn't need the money. And if you don't need to move, don't.
And that was the other thing Ollie mentioned in the 2022 article. You can find it on Twitter. Just go Sandown Sale, and there's a video of Ollie pop up. And he said that he was already worried back in 2022 that racing was losing touch with suburban Melbourne. Well, yeah, 100%. And moving and putting a brand new track out at Tullamarine, there's no guarantee that everyone's just going to follow their money across to the new Sandown at Tullamarine. That sounds like an absolute doozy. Oh gosh. Anyway,
I think some of the problem as well is say a Sandown. It's owned by the MRC. Rosehill, ATC, like they're trying to get the money back. If it was more of just a governing body to say like Racing New South Wales, like okay, we're going to sell Canterbury or something. They go somewhere else, or even in Melbourne, like you could definitely sell Werribee. Like it would be worth a stack. It's in the middle of the town, and you could build stacks of houses there. Like I think there's other options from a broader standpoint of like the whole states to sell off racetracks in Sandown and Rosehill, which are probably 2 of the better ones. So it does probably come down to the clubs as well, having a massive say in how they operate in that sense as well, when you think maybe Race Victoria could potentially come over the top.
Yeah, and that's the other thing with Werribee. You've got the train station there. You're 30 minutes to Flemington, which is arguably the best track in Victoria. And then you could pour more money into one of the biggest growth corridors, which is Geelong, and that's 30 minutes on the train back down the other way. So that's the people in Werribee can sort of pivot, and they've also got Ballarat. If they want to jump in the car, they can go there as well. So they've got the Colac. They've got so many options in and around that area that it probably does make more sense. And God, I don't think Werribee turnovers through the roof. All the horses, or lots of horses, break down from the quarantine areas, and you can figure out another quarantine area and push that somewhere else. I think it's a great proposal, Nico, and just the common sense from administrators is lost at the moment. And it's not just from the wagering thing; it's from the assets. Everywhere you look, it's just people have got their head in the sand, and no one's getting listened to that actually live, breathe, and work the industry 7 days a week and are invested in it. Have got business invested in it.
When your trainers and everything is so vocally against, and the punters it's just like everyone that is a core of the business is vocally against. And it just doesn't. It's not even hitting the sides. It's a 50-50. It's a 99-1. It's the decision makings.
I saw it because I'm an owner with obviously Britannicus. I saw an update last week, and it was an industry update sent to the owners, and it was all like happy story from Matt Welsh and things like that. But there was zero about wagering and zero about prize money and nothing about any real issues. It was fluff. Get to the sales. Go buy another horse. It was just disgraceful. Like they've completely lost their way.
Picking on Matty just because
he's
we
the
know
mouthpiece.
him, right? He was the white knight for us. We thought he would be the one who would be pushing wagering, pushing innovation. And like you say, he's sort of just fallen into the role. It seems a bit. It's not easy. It can't be easy. I'm not having a go at him personally. It's just it shows the way racing sort of makes it difficult to build progress in certain areas, and wagering certainly one of them. But if he can't get it done, it's very difficult. Now our best hope's probably Jason Scott up here, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do. But he's covering like greyhounds, harness racing. Like he's got a lot on his plate as well.
Exactly. We'll have a lot on our plate next Wednesday and put something on for the punters, which is great. Get behind the Launceston Cup meeting. There's a graphic on screen at the moment. So Nico's going to sink his teeth into the Launceston fields and control the bank from that perspective. I'll have a look at Sandown and Gawler, especially to give Nico a little bit of a chop out there. He'll still be doing the yard. So we'll be all over this nice and early on Monday. There'll be no golf next week for anyone. Donnie will have a look at Doomben, and then Walt, you're going to be chiming into some
haven't sold it
Rosehill.
yet. It'll still be there by Wednesday. Rosehill, we all right?
Yeah, we'll be right. So there you go. Something for the punters and a 6-hour look. And as usual, we'll have the YouTube chat group open. So any questions you have about doing the form or punting or anything, or any talk about the Rosehill tracks or anything that you want to talk about, we've got 6 hours, so we've got plenty of time to answer questions. And the good thing is more fields will drop, so we might even preview a couple of races and sort of dig around as the fields sort of populate and find a couple of bets for the weekend. So $50 to $1,000. Spend as much or as little, or don't even buy in if you don't want to, and we'll have a bit of a swing, and we'll be betting anyway. So hopefully we can take some money off Tristan and get you guys a little bank for next weekend's races. Today's show is going to be a beauty. Don last week, Sharp Dazzle, $11, went from a maiden up to the cutest race. Outstanding stuff there. The syndicate's treading water still, so we're sort of stopping the bleeding, but we had a half a dozen winners or so in the last sort of 7 days, which is good. 2 from 2 yesterday. We had one at Strathalbyn, and then Donnie tipped one that won by about 6 lengths up at Ipswich, so that was a beauty. So fingers crossed we can start showing some positive signs and get back in the positives for the year, because it's been a sick start, as we've mentioned many times, not hiding away from the fact, but hopefully the luck can turn for us. Speaking of sick beats, Learning Fly was a heartbreaking watch for you, I thought, Walt. It was pretty funny on your kick stream. When's the kick stream going around this week?
I just don't know, mate. Just sort of get on there as much as I can. During this trial thing, I'm just sort of trying new things. I think Friday night, I'll probably do Friday night, Saturday, but yeah, it's funny. It was just funny to capture something that we do probably all the time. As soon as you tend to bag someone or point out they're not going too well, they jump out of the ground and jam you. And it certainly wasn't a sick beat. It went from the worst ride you've ever seen to the best, and got the dream run, and she just probably knocked up the big girl. But actually, Tristan was lucky to escape a few bombs there. But hopefully one of them will get in between now and next Wednesday, that's for sure.
So check out Racing Watch and head to his kick stream for a little bit of a look on how Walt does the form and how he bets as well. So a couple of nice little streams coming up, which is good. Captain Taz, a steamer, Nico. Syndicates are getting a hold of some of your stuff, which is good to see. And absolutely crunched there.
Captain Taz. Captain. I'm still not over it. It was a sick beat. It was a sick beat.
Caulfield Saturday, Launceston Sunday. I've got a black booker in on Moonee Valley on Friday night, so I'll have a quick look at that. TopSport Steam, Samana and Thunderlips were 2 crackers last week, and TopSport obviously betting best the best to win 5,000 all Group 1 races. So they're the bookmaker that we trust. They're Australian owned and operated, no funny business, and locally supporting a lot of good things in the community as well. So make sure you get around topsport.com.au and sign up if you don't have an account. Nico, Launceston, as he said, Sunday, got the double up. The first race we're going to have a look at, you found one in race 1. We're going to have a look at the replay. The horse is called In the Ocean. This is a 1,100 metre maiden. It's in the blue with the yellow sleeves parked in behind them.
Yeah, stays at 1,100 metres on Friday or Sunday it is. And only had one trial coming into this race. The horse limiting up in the green cap batch he bought one since. I think kind of just peaked on his run here and potentially got a bit lost out in front. You can sort of see his ears going everywhere. He just doesn't really know how to find the line. Jockey's pretty soft on him late, nearly goes down by a half head. So that was on debut. He tried really well leading into the campaign. And Sarah Cotton's got her team going quite well. So I think if he gets a similar run and potentially maybe something to chase for a bit longer, I think he'll be pretty hard to beat in what looks a weaker maiden than what he won in last start. So he looks to have a few things in his favour, and the Launceston track definitely favours horses on top of the speed more than Hobart. So I think it's probably a positive for him going from Hobart to Launceston. And yeah, I would assume he probably starts with a 2 in front of his name. If he was any shorter than that, you'd probably give him a miss. But between $2 and $3, I think he'd probably start somewhere in that realm and should have every possible chance. Just hopefully he finds the line a bit better with a bit of race experience under his belt.
Anything scary in the first starters that catches your eye? Or
no, there wasn't really any big danger. I thought maybe Glenn Stevenson's horse, but it did draw very poorly. So, yeah, I think if he's not winning, it's a bit of a raffle around him. So hopefully, like I said, he just takes that good experience from last start. He's a little bit weak there late, but I think if he had potentially a horse to take him to the race a bit further, hit the front of one way out there for a horse on debut. So, yeah, he might be able to just hold him off there on Sunday.
tend to agree. Good little debut there. So race 1, it's in the ocean to kick us off down at Launceston on Sunday. Race 4 is the next one that you like. It's the benchmark 62 over 1,200 metres. And the horse we like here is Shim in the red with the yellow.
Yeah, this was a horse who was like desperately unlucky 2 starts ago. Then came to this race at Hobart. I couldn't believe the price she was. She was about 30 to 1. And again, just watch her here, just has absolutely no luck. No run there, gets chopped out of a run. It's absolutely bolting. It doesn't have anywhere to go. Picks up late, but just has no room. I think this race is much weaker than what she faced there. And that was pretty much just a barrier trial. Her run prior at Launceston was even worse, where she ran up backside. She was the quickest spoor the 2 of the race. And then that horse in the Trinder colours, Gallant Warriors, who was flying home there, was also in her run prior where he flew home, and she probably should have finished pretty close to him there. So she's had 2 long SPs and 2 runs where she's had no luck. Now she goes 2 apprentice jockeys off for Craig Newitt on. She's drawn a wide barrier, but that might help her just staying out in clear air. And I think she's just ready to run a big race of what we've seen from her last 2. I think if she hadn't got out there, there's no doubt she's in the finish, and probably the same with her last run. So I think this is one they could miss a fair bit. They definitely missed her last start, and she didn't really get to show anything she had there. So I think she was around 30s last start. I'd be expecting, maybe a similar price here. So, sort of, she'll at least be double figures, I would have thought. So, big jockey change with Craig Newitt on. I think it's go time there for her on Sunday. So we're pretty keen on Shim. Going to follow up her money from last start, and I think she can be getting the job done with a bit more luck.
Who's likely favourite here in this one?
Oh, it's a tricky race around her. I sort of thought that there was a few horses that if they ran right up to their best, they'd be going like pretty close. But now I'd sort of struggle to see one of these horses being, clear cut favourite. So I think it's quite an even race. And I sort of thought if it's not her you're wanting to back in the race, it's probably not a race you're super keen to bet in, given I just don't think they'll miss much at the top of the market. So, even race around her, and that's why I think she can really hit back here with Craig Newitt going aboard.
Outstanding. So that's race 4, and it's Shim, number 12. So barrier 12, but as Nico said, had no luck the last 2. So hopefully can get some clear air there. And even if it's a weaker race, you'll probably still get $15 or $20 or 30, even 30s if they completely miss it. So fingers crossed we can get the good price there. If you want to do more form down in Tassie like Nico is, TasRacing FormplusPro is the best place to go. You go to tasracing.com.au and then you can access the additional replays. So you've got head-on, stewards, vision, and then you can build your own black book. So you can get that to your SMS or your email service. And as we said, the Launceston Cup next Wednesday is the cherry on top for the carnival down there. And so make sure you tune in the races on Sunday for the Oaks Day, and then the Cup on Wednesday, and get to our littlebirdie.tv website to buy shares, or if you don't have Little Birdie app, make sure you go to topsport.com.au and head to the benefit section. And as I said, you can deposit either 50 or up to 1,000 if you're a high roller, and we'll try and get the betting bank and grow down on Launceston Cup Day. I think there's about should be a big full field there down at the Launceston Cup, so it should be a cracking race. Caulfield is the main event this Saturday, and it's the Blue Diamond Stakes Day. So always a cracking day of racing, and they haven't missed here. I got the basketball court out the front, Scotty Pippen, Horace Grant. Lots of free tickets hunting around, so they're going to try and max it out. So good luck to them with that sort of initiative. Real lateral thinking down at MRC, but they're well known for that.
Horace must have been over the moon to get a free trip to Australia. Like, I was a Mad Bulls fan in the 90s, but I'm tipping no one's heard of him for about 15 years, old Horace Grant, so he'd be loving it.
Yeah, maybe they're targeting our sort of vintage, but that'd be a new one, wouldn't it? Horace Grant. Everyone will be wanting Horace to throw his goggles into the crowd, not so much Craig Williams after Mr. Brightside saluting.
Oh, geez. Unless
get him signed.
Unless, Kieran Mark comes up and right hooks him and cracks his goggles or something, that might be worth a bit more then.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Scotty Pippen, absolute beauty as well. So Pippen and Jordan, they'll
be easy to spot in the crowd. That's the one good thing. 9'7".
Well, it is a sight to see the basketball court out there. So fingers crossed they can get some new fans to racing, different eyeballs on the sport. Race 8 is the Blue Diamond, odds courtesy of TopSport. Coleman's the favourite here, 416 to 420. Had some support. Lady of Camelot They bet as much as, $11 earlier in the week, $4.60 now, Bodyguard $5, High Octane 9 into 8, Anisa $12, Stay Focused $15, Hayasugi $15, Kuriyanagi $16, Matisse $21, Traffic Warden $26, Spywire $31, and Fearless is $34, and then Ruta Royale $41. So you can just see with the prices of some of these horses with a bit of talent, this looks like a pretty hot and deep sort of blue diamond, and it's probably because they're all starting to duck and dive away from Stormboy. So it might be a pretty good addition this year. But let's get into a couple of replays, and Nico can give us some thoughts and maybe some yard comments as well. But the first one, High Octane, Stay Focused, and Bodyguard. You see Bodyguard in the Harron Green. Stay Focused is sort of doing the donkey work, leading him out there, and High Octane's a hard luck story. Nico.
Yeah, absolutely no luck. And he did risk the start as well. He was in the barriers and he got backed out just before they started and had to move into another barrier. And just watching the vision, he just didn't look like he was prepared at all for the jump. His head was turned to the side. So I think he's complete forgive High Octane. He should have finished, I think, right alongside Bodyguard if he had had the luck. And plus you factor in missing the start. Had the SP there. I thought he really improved in the yard from his debut run. So I feel like he'll be one of the horses that's best suited in a high pressure 1200 metre race. There's no doubt Bodyguard's going to be the same. There is a bit of a cloud over him though. Just in the last 10 or 15 minutes, he has faced the RV vets and he has presented with lameness issues. So that's not ideal if you're looking to back him, but hopefully he can get over that. So it is probably, not ideal to be backing a 2-year-old in that situation. I think Esther Jarb maybe had a lameness issue leading into her Blue Diamond and didn't sort of fancy with her too well after that. So that's definitely a way for him. But if you sort of rule that out, gee, it was a big win last start, Bodyguard. I kind of think they're the two. I think the Snowden horses, they'll be really strong late. I think they're both going to be suited in a fast run race, which you think you're probably going to get here with Lady Camelot stepping up to 1200 metres, even Coleman pushing forward and a few others at prices, maybe Spywire spears across from barrier 18. So I thought that'd be the two best suited to the fast run race. This may be the best horse, Coleman. He returned really well in the yard. He was like looking at a different horse first up. I think that late market move was definitely inspired by the yard. He was $2.60 into $2.10. Nisa probably didn't really participate here. She went right back and just sort of found the line, but he absolutely annihilated her in the end. Strong late relative to the day. Did have a few things in his favour. It was a good day to be up there on top of the speed in terms of the pattern, but he was really strong through the line. And then Walt probably knows a bit more about this girl than me, Lady Camelot, but did seem to have a few favours on this day.
She looks under pressure and she changes leg in about 50 metres and you see what she can really do.
This is the day sort of Donnie was half horned up and half sort of declared her. And she posted some big numbers on the clock.
Off she goes there. You see like the 150.
I went back and looked at a few stats for the Blue Diamond, just where you have to settle in the run. Since 2010, not one leader has won the race. So,
history
Sepoy settled second in one, but he was an absolute freak. And then looking through a few of the others, a few of them sort of settled third, but the sweet spot's midfield, about 7 or 8 back. That's where sort of the last 13 years, a lot of the winners have been at 7th or 8th position. So, and even the last 5 years, there's been a few real back markers like Artorias, Liar. They come from well back in the field. So,
did Animo race in the Blue Diamond?
No, here we go.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Triggering.
Triggering, yeah. So, Lady Camelot, she ran a big figure on putting form, nearly 11 lengths above, went 5 lengths above to the 600. I would expect maybe out to 1200 she goes a bit quicker, just with maybe potentially a bit more pressure for the lead here. So, I think it'd be quite a fast run race. And personally, I think that makes her vulnerable, those stats, and then a few real big closers here. I just thought she kind of, the rating she ran last start on quite a firm track, had the pattern in her favour. The key other runner in the race got scratched at the barriers. Like, I just can't see her sort of replicating that performance here. If she does, she's just an absolute freak to lead and win a Blue Diamond, probably off a fast tempo. But I'm sort of leaning the other way that she may not be in that echelon, top echelon of the last 10, 12 years, that none of those horses have done that. So, I'm against her, Lady Camelot, but I may be I might be the only one on this panel.
Yeah, I've got a lot of respect. I'm sort of asleep at the wheel. I've missed multiple opportunities to try and take a position with her, and for whatever reason, I've sort of missed the boat. So good luck to everyone that's on it. $13, $11, $8.50, whatever overs you've got. Hippo's a great booking. She just has to sort of get around the corner a bit, and looks like the definite horse to run down. Just don't know a couple of these, like it's just going to be, as you say, Nico, just don't know what's going to happen with a couple of these colts once they find a high pressure race. And I guess that's the beauty of these 2-year-old races. You don't know until the acid sort of comes on them. So it's a guessing game in terms of how they're going to respond to the pressure. But I thought Coleman was the horse that just watching it to my eye, I thought he was the horse who's just looked like he's gone out and had 2 barrier trials and done it just like so easy. I love him as a type, and even hearing Matt Laurie, the way he speaks, like he's thinking this horse can measure up in a golden slipper, and he's not even going to be fully wound up, so that may work against him if it's going to be a really tough run. But I just don't think we've seen the bottom of him at all. But I could be completely wrong there. And it's just the barrier draws sort of fallen a bit skewy for a couple of chances here. But interested in Walt's thoughts.
Yeah, so I think 460 is probably. We're talking 460 now compared to you, so $8 was much more attractive. But talking to Hippo, she galloped the other way, got on her right leg, did everything he wanted to do. She's impressed him. I think the sort of draw helps. Hippo doesn't know Caulfield that well. Pattern will obviously be important because you know where she's going to be. If she's not leading, they're going very fast. The way I look at it, I think she'll win, but the way she's going to run the race is exactly sort of Nico said. It's going to be a test. Even if act of God, she gets some sort of good control, she's going to take advantage of that and sort of take off. She's not going to sit there and wait. So no matter what, this is going to be a staying test. The problem for Coleman and Anisa to a certain degree, 1,000 to 1,200, very difficult to do. I loved Coleman's win just because he sort of dropped the bit there before the bend and then ground away and then found gears and through the line. He looked like he was just going to build. So 1,200 doesn't look a problem off that, but still that platform, 1,000 to 12, up against one of Gay's who's, got a grounding before that 1,100 metre run a fast time, obviously has to go away from home and do it again, but still has, you're going to have to be a very good horse to overcome it. I'm not a big fan of the Snowden horses in comparison. I just didn't really think they sort of sit sprinty, not sure if there's substance to the form. Like even Stay Focused was a better run than I thought than Bodyguard the other day. Bodyguard will strip fitter, but Stay Focused just does a lot wrong.
Now he's drawn 15 though.
Who's that Stay Focused? Well, he's not. That's what I'm sort of saying. That form line is a bit of a problem. Even Trunk that sort of got beat by Stay Focused, all that's a bit wish-washy. So if you sort of line it back up with Lady of Camelot, I'm happy to take them on. And these is the one I think that did have a barrier trial there. It has to do the 1,000 to 1,200, but Moody's just. I love Moonee, and I think this horse, if they go crazy, that sort of 3-wide line, sort of where Nico was saying, that sweet spot midfield with the trail, that may be where Anisa is. And I thought just at the prices, if I'm on Lady of Camelot at the $8 early, which I am, balls deep, I'm going to make Anisa a winner, and I'm probably going to chop out on Coleman just for absolute sanity's sake because he could be a very, very good horse. And if the Snowdens beat me, they beat me. And then, it's actually a really good race because
great betting race.
Yeah, and you got like Matisse that did a good job the other day, sort of green, but if they go too quick, it could be running on. There's a few of those horses. Fearless when okay in Sydney was a funny ride behind Prost. Yeah, there's a lot of angles to the race if you want to be around the favourites. It's a great race, but I'll go down swinging with Lady of Camelot and Anisa.
It's an interesting one. Obviously, Nico found Matisse last time, and boy, it was some sort of run. But then Lane sort of, whether he is pre-booked with Anisa, I'm not sure. I assume possibly, and you just don't know with some of these jockey bookings. You try and figure them out, but sometimes you don't know the full story. But Anisa and Matisse could get absolutely suck runs, and there's definitely something there with those two runners. But usually I've got a really good handle on some of these races, but there's just so many good angles in this one. And
lightly raced horses too that you don't know. Caulfield, how's he going to play? It's a
you're getting a good price for whatever your opinion is.
Well, this is a great betting race. This is the example of a great betting race.
So, Nico, to sum up, free bet, you're backing High Octane.
High Octane. Yeah, if you give me a free bet.
Yeah, free bet. I'd probably back Coleman, but I'm very, very frightened that.
What price is it now with the firms? Are the others still at $5 ish or something?
Who's that?
Which Coleman?
Coleman, $4.20.
Yeah.
You're probably going to get $5.
I reckon you'll get $5 a field.
Yeah, he'd be the one, and especially that Matt Laurie has come out and said that he's left something in him.
I know Mellon's a bit of a cocky bugger, but he's not normally that cocky in the media, and for him to speak the way he is, you can only take it as a positive. I don't think he's one that wants to go out and look like an idiot, so the horse must be pretty special.
It's an interesting one with Mark Zara too, because he sort of made a couple of funny comments about Bodyguard and High Octane. He sort of said that he's already been locked into Bodyguard, and so he sort of said, "Oh, well, I've got it right both times up until now, but hasn't really been." He sort of just stuck with Bodyguard. It's not like he can get off to go to ride High Octane by the sound of it.
A lot of cult deals.
Yeah, that puts a little bit of a query for mine on Bodyguard, because he had everything go his way, Bodyguard, didn't he?
He did, but you had the feeling it was a bit of a Snowden lead-up barrier trial. Didn't really care if they won.
Still got it
High
done.
Octane was the same.
Yeah.
I think they were both sweet to get in this race, so I don't think there was high pressure on them to do anything there. So they will improve, so I can see where Nico's coming from. I'm just sort of, you've got to take a line avenue and, yeah, we'll see.
Absolute cracker. So we got our tongues wagging, and it looks like one of the all-time Blue Diamonds. So fingers crossed it becomes that way. And obviously, Lady Camelot's going to be up there in the vanguard and absolutely pouring the pressure on. So it's going to be a cracking race. Make sure you tune in and have a bet on that one. Caulfield Race 9 is the next one I'm going to have a look at, the Oakleigh Plate, and another race that historically they go like cut cats in. Also, King's Gambit's the favourite here, $4.40. Asphora $5.50. Shripper is $9. Benedetta $9. Ray Magnerio $10. Kalos is $11, Hypothetical $12, Recommendation $15, Q-Man $16 at Jim, Sahale $19, Brudenell $20, Skew If $21. Then you got Mornings and Glory, DK's Horse, Chain of Lightning, and Lem Picker rounding out the market. The horse that we go through a few replays here, but Nico's a bit keen on Ripper, who's won at Caulfield, won Track and Trip, but this is him at Flemington.
This is just a demolition. I started even money and absolutely raced away from him. I think the key to this horse has been Craig Newitt. He's looked like a new horse ever since he jumped aboard within the left hand. It's always been a horse that's had a real tendency to lay in. Even so, his recent trial, he wanted to lay in with Kayla Crowther on. So I think Newitt's been the big positive for this horse. I know Crosshaven and Curran probably aren't up to this sort of grade, but he absolutely annihilated them there. I think he probably just blends into the running line. He's got a huge turn of foot. And he just seems to be peaking at the right time. The Chico trial was great. He brings in the residual fitness over the summer, and then you can really tie him in through Hypothetical last campaign, Tigras Furers and Co., where he didn't have a whole lot of luck on a day he had to be on the fence at Caulfield.
Here's Hypothetical just pouring it on Asphora in the light blue and Kalos down the outside.
Kalos is pretty stiff to be top weight in Oakleigh Plate off winning this, but I thought Asphora could have paraded a little better on the day. I don't know if she's come back that well this campaign. I know she was only just beaten here, but under the race shape, they didn't go super fast, and she was probably in the right spot there. So as a whole, I'm just kind of petting that race. I just can't get near any of them. I think, horses like Shripper, even Benedetta, bring in potentially a better line of form. So Caulfield 1100 meter lead up is a big tick for those horses, but I was happy enough to be around that race and sort of look for a bit of different form away from what is the usual lead up, the Riverton. So I sort of went looking for Shripper, and I thought the other horse that has to be in play is Benedetta. She's off, gets in very well under the weight scale with the mare's allowance. She's got a big turn of foot. That form last campaign paying around Star Patrol, King at Sparta, just reads very well for this Oakleigh Plate. Like, this Oakleigh Plate is probably, unless Sharippa comes out and becomes a Group 1 horse, I would say it lacks a bit of quality and class. So for a filly or a mare like her that's already been to some good levels, winning group races, I think she's pretty deadly here, fresh. And Sharippa just could be the best horse. He's actually quite well weighted at 55 kilos, given he's won 2 stakes races his last 2 runs. He's absolutely bolted in both of them. And the handicapper probably just hasn't been able to hit him hard enough, given that, I would say most people might have him ahead of Kalos at this point in their career, and Kalos hasn't really won anything of note, and he's got to carry top weight here. So, I think he's actually still quite well in, given his last 2 wins. So, yeah, I'm pretty keen Shrewper and Benedetta. King's Gambit's obviously the horse that's going to draw a lot of attention. I think the big way for him is the inside draw. He's going to be standing in the gates for a long time. He's a horse that never jumps well out of the barriers. Even in his trials recently, he's jumped poorly. And then he's got a real issue of Skew If, who is a noted barrier rogue. If she goes in, if they don't load her in late and she goes in early and has to stand, she's in 3, he's in 1, and stand near him. If she goes off, he'll definitely go off. So I think he's got some issues there just getting out of the gates. If he does jump away and sort of puts himself in the box seat or something, they'd be a little bit worried. But just with my prediction of him, he's shown no time in his career that he's a good beginner. So I doubt that's going to change on Saturday. I was happy enough to be around him, around Asfura, so that kind of left me with Shrewper and Benedetta. So I'm probably betting up those 2.
Very good insights there, Nico. And on Asfura comments, the whip with Craig Newitt, and definitely King's Gambit. That's why you're in the side. What are you thinking here?
I'm keen here because I can agree with Nico after I'm going head-to-head with
Here we go.
No, I agree. And the one thing I'd add to Shrewper is it actually thrives on like crazy fast tempos and has the ability to kick off. So I couldn't agree more. I think that sort of wide draw, touch wood, is probably ideal because you don't want him sort of leading, but you just want him blending there somewhere and then exposing and hitting the line, and whatever runs past him probably wins. And going like deep into it, I agree. Like, cause I think we were back in Kalos at Warwick Farm midweeks with 58 about 12 months ago. So I don't understand how the heck he's ended up top weight in an Oakleigh plate, but I guess something has to be. But he is $15 or something. I just thought that was silly just because of where he's going to be. He's probably going to blend and get that same run he got there. And if they do go crazy, it does seem a silly price. Like, I'm definitely not knocking him. Whereas Asfura, I don't know how the hell it can possibly win off that run. It needs to improve out of this world. The chasers are all 1,400 metre horses, I think. Like, they're not really... They've got turn of foots, but they've got turn of foots over 1,400. Like Benedetta and even Chain of Lightning's not really, I don't think, a sharp horse. What's the other? There was another one in there somewhere. I can't remember. But it just doesn't look like... Oh, sorry, Benedetta and... What's the other? There's another first up horse in there that didn't jump out that well. King's Gambit's the one that can make us both look silly, and I agree with Nico 1,000,000%. It'll do everything right. 3 back the fence, get a split and win by 3, or it will be an absolute 7-car pile up, and there probably will be no in between. So, it's up to you whether you want to take the odds for that with the added. I think that's great information. Skew with being a nutter in the inside draw. No one really thinks about that in a 15-horse field, standing in the gates for 4 or 5 minutes when you're a hothead. So, great information all around. But I agree, 1,000,000% Shrewper looks clearly the horse to beat, and I will have something on. Oh, sorry, Skew If was the other horse that has jumped out and is a 1,400 metre horse, very similar horse to Benedetta. I was just looking away for it, but I got to have something on Callis just because of the price.
What do you make of a horse like Brudenell? It's had a really strange preparation.
It just makes you laugh. Like, unless you approach the race without seeing the name of it, that you're talking about Brudenell in an Oakleigh plate. But there's too many Brudenells in this race. Recommendations Brudenell, hypotheticals Brudenell. There's like 3 or 4 Brudenells that are all going to expose each other, you would think. And I think Nico's on the right track, as in found a horse on the up that's just a little bit better than those horses that's kind of profile similar.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused with this race, to be brutally honest. The most confusing preparation is probably Brudenell. I just can't figure out what they're doing or where they're sort of going with that horse.
Can't knock them for having a shot though, can you? It's an interesting one. And if any, like King's Gambit, what's it got? 50 or 50 and a half or something? Car coming up for 2 trials at least it was a plan, Interesting.
Yeah, I wasn't. I don't know that she had her best prep last time in Benedetta. The preparation before, I thought this horse could be absolutely anything, but I just thought she was a little bit below par. And I don't know whether Jason Warren sort of had plans to race her in a couple of races at Moonee Valley, then sort of jumped off on a different page and changed her sort of setups, and then started to avoid a horse like Imperatrice, or I'm not sure what happened to her, but she's probably the horse that appeals to me, sort of off a couple of just funny runs. Like, as Nico sort of said, that Star Patrol and the Silver Eagle run, I thought they were sort of okay, but she doesn't mind Caulfield, and down at 53 kilos, I thought maybe she was the big improver, but love the angle with Sharippa, and I can't really add much more to that, so I'll probably have to back Sharippa and save something on Benedetta, but gosh, it's a handicap puzzle that, I just can't quite get my head around. But Nico's Mounting Yard Mail will be an absolute must-buy for this weekend. So you heard the insights with Asphora, and obviously those colts that run around in the Blue Diamond, it'll be critical for those as well. So pretty cheap to get a hold of that. That's only $25 a week, so make sure you snap it up for the rest of Feb and all of March. So just head to littlebirdie.live if you want to get Nico's Mounting Yard Mail, and should be a great day out at Caulfield on Saturday. No DK, as we said earlier, but there's a horse that I sort of have in my black book, and it's Friday night at Moonee Valley, and this won't surprise Nico because I spoke to him about this horse on in our chat room sort of last week, and we almost pulled the trigger on it actually for a syndicate bet, and Christ, it looks like it's gone off anyway. Moonee Valley Race 4, number 10, is the horse. It's called Rise of Dawn. It's $2.30 into $2.10 at TopSport. Zamborghini's $4, $7.50 Warlord, Slain $11, $12 Brooklyn Boss, and then you got Regal Zeus and Jupiter's. But I've been quite taken by this horse, Rise of Dawn. It was sort of $2.90, $2.70 earlier this morning, but the price has gone off completely here. But this horse has got form around Ambassadorial. His first ever start at Werribee, they went so quick, and this horse just held on. He actually put a hole in him, so 1 by 3. Then he came back to Sandown and was sort of a little bit lost, and still sort of hung on, got beaten a length, didn't really know what he was doing. They put him away, and then come back on Pakenham and sort of stacked him up here, but sort of just ran away like a good horse. And I just don't know where this horse can go to. I think he could be a bit of a talent here. He's drawn barrier 1, gets $1,600 at Moonee Valley. The $3 was a great price, but I've sort of lost my chubby a little bit with the $2.10. I've sort of, the wind's sort of come out of me, but I thought he was one of the better bets at Moonee Valley tomorrow night. Zamborghini, sort of know where his level's at. Warlord, Slain. I thought he could just get full control from barrier 1 and be really hard to run down, and there's just something, a bit of X factor about this horse.
Yeah, it was a good win first up. Wasn't a class run race, so
no,
it did have a few things in his favour, but sticking him up to the mile, I think would definitely suit him. He's probably just going to put 2 runs together. I think that's probably the only knock with him taking a short price, like just dropped off a bit second up last campaign. But yeah, there's a few here that their level, when he could be a horse that's maybe a Saturday class horse, where I don't think any of these are.
Exactly. So a little bit of 250 around if you can go shopping there. So still a bit of a banker, hopefully, on Friday night at Moonee Valley. Let's keep pushing on. Need a short, sharp show here. Puntingform.com is what I use, so tiptoe all around the place. New South Wales, Brizzy, Adelaide, look into Moonee Valley, anywhere. So make sure you choose puntingform.com.au as your number one form guide, and you can watch your tape watching skills and marry up your data, so you know whether a horse has gone fast or slow, and then you can figure out whether it's going to be suited at its next start. Big day at Rosehill on Saturday, Walt. You got 7 mil between sort of now and Saturday, and really turn the corner here. The Silver Slipper is the first race we're going to have a look at. And odds courtesy of TopSport. You've got Espionage, $2.30 favourite. Straight Charge, $2.70. Erno's Cube, $7. Embassy, $8.50. Celerity, $12. 21 Gatsby, in from 31. And Gaze Artist, $21. These horses are trying to put themselves up in billing for the Golden Slipper in a month or so's time. But the horse here that you like is Straight Charge. This is the horse that was going to be the big rival to Stormboy from all the talk out of the Waterhouse yard. It's in the green here with the pink cap. Pretty dominant win here, and we'll show its trial next. But
yeah, probably would have gone around a favourite in the Magic Millions off this. I know Stormboy has already won the race, but I think he would have gone probably dominant favourite against Stormboy off a Brisbane win versus this win. And I think sort of 60 days between. Did have a little setback where he had to have a bit of antibiotics or something. So that was what put him out of the Magic Millions. And then before this trial, I think he was a little bit in the wilderness. They weren't sure whether he was on track or whether maybe the slipper had come a bit soon. But I think this showed that he's back and he's sort of ready. And I just think having that sort of preparation, that run, a little freshen, and then this trial, he's just sort of a little bit more on the front foot than Espionage is for this race in particular. But like a pretty effortless trial there, really fast time. I am concerned, like the weather is a bit of an issue. No one really knows what we're going to cop. And you've got really hot, like 31 today, 36 tomorrow, and then rain potentially on race morning. So it's just an absolute nightmare. But if it does arrive, I've got no real issue for it for straight charge, that wide draw. It'll roll forward. Probably Embassy's the only fly in the ointment drawn under it, whether it's going to sort of kick up. But you'd think they'd be happy to. They don't want to torch that horse, I wouldn't imagine. So they'll probably let Tim dictate. And, Nash is known for being ready for grand final day a little bit, Nash. So I don't think he's going to be too concerned. I'm not going to say he's giving his horse a barrier trial here under any circumstances, but I think he's going to look after it. If the runs present and he gets to the middle and wins, he won't be stopping it. But I don't think this horse is there to bust itself either, Espionage, and Nash is not one to sort of jam it and put it to the stablemate or anything like that. So I think they're both massive winning chances for the slipper, let alone this race. And if you're interested in betting early, I think straight charge is 25-1 to win the slipper. So if I'm having something on it here, I'm having something on it there, and I think I'm having something on Espionage at sort of $15 as well. I think Gay will have a stranglehold on the slipper after this race.
Outstanding. Nash is in the wilderness a bit. We'll talk him into a bit of form. He's just going at the moment, but he's got a strong book of rides. He's got Belvedere Boys in race 2. He's got Straight Charge. He's on Tom Kitten. He's going awful, isn't he?
Yeah, well, then none of those horses are at their grand final. That's the only worry, and and none of them need to win on Saturday. So maybe Belvedere Boys, but I don't think it does. It's probably just going to the wild card of the country championship, but it's short enough. But Nash he's a good man. He's a great rider. I'm not saying under any circumstances he'll be doing anything strange here, but I just think that of the two stablemates, Straight Charge has got the fitness, it's got the gait to be positive, and if Espionage runs it down, I think it'll clearly be the horse to beat Storm Boy in the slipper. So that's what my play is here. Something small, Straight Charge here, backing them both to win the slipper because I think they'll both run really well. Outstanding.
All right, Rosehill Race 8. Let's talk about Tom Kitten in the Hobartville Stakes, Group 2, 1,400 metres. Cracking race this. He's $3.20 favourite at TopSport. NCAP $6. La Vampire, $7.50 to Cass, $8. Celestial Legend, $8. Fukubana from Brizzy into the deep end here. $9 gets J-Mac. He-Man, $13. Sierra Wolf, $18. Gambare, $21. Flying Trapeze, Raff Attack, and Cafe Millennium last draw round out the betting here. Let's have a quick look at one of the lead-ups. Key ones is the Eskimo Prince. You've got Tom Kitten just out the back, and then you got NCAP, Celestial Legend inside. Interesting, he's drawn outside this time around, and then you've got Macarena charging down the outside. Calibus is the one that
Griff a bit disappointing in front. But probably this is from here is the most important part. You see that Tom Kitten basically gets dropped there when they sprint, and Celestial Legend's not in the best spot either, back towards the inside. So, a hard fit Caballas, and then there's Tom Kitten doing his thing through the line, and Celestial Legend trying to warm up as well back towards the inside. It's a super weird race, this. You got sort of Gay got Raff Attack, Gambare, and I think she's got another one in there somewhere that's first up. Maybe she doesn't. And Levon Pierce had the run. So they head forward. I thought Raff Attack and Gambare certainly trialled like they definitely want further. So do they let Levon Pierce lead? I would say so. That helps it. Tom Kitten probably, again, this is not its grand final. You saw there he sort of got dropped in a sit sprint 1,200. I don't think he's going to be anywhere near suited at 1,400, especially from a low draw. So then you go looking for who's going to run on. Ducasse has won a maiden last start. I know Redbreast came out and won a maiden at Hawkesbury yesterday and ran the fastest time in the world on a heavy 9 yesterday, but still, is that the right form? And it's a little bit similar to Tom Kitten, sort of drops the bit. Do you want it to be looking for runs inside? So Fukabana coming off a 1,200 metre win at Doomben, where it was good through the line, but is it only half its price because of James being on it? I didn't think He-Man trialled like he was ready. Seal Wolf trialled like he's going backwards. So the horse that you just find naturally is Celestial Legend. And my only question on him is if he's half a run short, just because Les only gave him one trial into the 12. Is he setting him for the Rosehill Randwick Guineas, that 1,600 third up? If he's jammed a bit of work into him, 850 just seems ridiculous. And it's the only horse I can back happily. I think NCAP will be near its top.
Yep.
But it needs to be. And I think 1,400 metres is as far as it wants. So it's a little bit like Portelli last week. That horse, Komochi, had a long prep, so had that residual, trialled okay, sort of was ready for that, out-toughed the, what's our learning to fly late. Yeah. And Cap might do the same here. So I think Celestial Legends a bet at $8.50, whether it knocks up after being set too big a task or whether it's I think it could actually win well if it's up to it fitness-wise. This is sort of its D-day. I think Tom Kitten will do exactly what it did there, run really well, but he's looking for the mile, and Ducasse pokes up the inside and jams you. It's a bit like King's Gambit in the Blue Diamond. It could make you look silly late. Levon Pier up on the speed could run a race, but if it sort of holds on, I think it's because it's been a poor race, not because it's a very good horse on the up. It just looks well suited here. So yeah, Celestial Legend for me, and I'll probably save on NCAP just so I don't get the double Portelli Pineapple 2 weeks in a row.
Oh, yeah, I'd probably back NCAP, but it's not a race that I want to get too tangled up in just yet.
You just got to you keep looking and looking and looking, and it's just not a grand final for anyone. And then the sort of setup horses are potentially like Ducasse and NCAP probably, and Celestial Legend if he's just come on from that run. You want to see him do something. He should be $455, I think, and you're getting double the price.
Yep. Any thoughts on any of those Colts, Nico?
No, a tough race. I think what raises a really good point about, grand final day, you'll even see that in Melbourne with the Peter Young and a few of those other races. Like, they're just lead-ups. So you can't get too involved in them because nothing's really there fully cranked up to win them. So,
but you get sucked into it too because like the things at the top of the market aren't there. Yeah, so they're great races to explore.
I think Buenos de Chess is a prime example of that last week. Like, he's probably the best horse in that race, but he goes back to last. Gives King of Sparta too big a head start, and just the way the race shape worked out, he could never win. Like, you're repricing that race. There's no way you've got him odds on. So that's probably
he pulled up
a bit lame.
Yeah, and I laugh. It's not funny, but they had an inquiry into that. Like, anyone, exactly what you're saying. Like, they're talking TJ's Newmarket's England, so the horse is not at his peak. You know that Nash is going to be a little bit kind to him early, if nothing else, and then Brock's chopped him off. And got reprimanded for it. So, like, he maybe should have stuck to the back of the winner in hindsight. But, yeah, it's exactly the same. There's just all about intent in grand finals, and you sort of have to be able to factor that in pre-race.
Yeah, it's remarkable how many people don't read the stewards' reports. Didn't Jimmy Starr throw a plate as well?
Yep.
And he was banging on into the wind as well. So he had the wind hitting the whole time, but none of these turkeys have mentioned any of that.
I think the $1.25 is what sent that insane. I don't think it's probably the last thing we need to talk about. It's been over-talked about. But
again, another horse that wasn't his grand final. Like, his grand final was the All-Star Mile.
And that was why I was thinking of it. He's had excuses. Wasn't grand final, so he's mile off, had the shoe, had the wind hit him in the face, and like.
So if Craig Williams drags at 10 off the lead, runs home and gets beaten 3, does Mark come out after the race and say he was happy with the run because he's on track for his grand final? That's why it's so ridiculous. I think from a punter's perspective, you couldn't be angry with the ride. But if they had different intentions, it's up to them.
I think, and people just need to have a good look at the stewards' reports before they sort of spout off and come up with all these silly ideas and sort of theories. But one thing I will say is that the Victorian stewards' reports are 10 times better than what's going on in New South Wales. They barely ask a question in New South Wales, and
they're so inconsistent. Yeah.
Well, they don't even ask questions about certain runners that just seem bleedingly obvious. But at least Victoria has a bit of a crack, and there's a lot more effort from the stewards down in Victoria, I will say. So, Anyway, it's there's a bit of a nightmare, all that sort of stuff as well. All all three major states need to pull their socks up in regards to that. Wouldn't happen in Adelaide. Adelaide Shield's doing a good job.
Mate, if Ma said that in Sydney, you would have got a $20,000 fine and whatever. There's no consistency across any of the states. It's a very strange game at the moment.
Someone who loves the Stewards report is our man Donnie last week, Sharp Dazzler. Cha-ching. Let's see what he's got for Saturday.
G'day, lads. Sharp Dazzler was good last week. This week, we're going to Doomben, race 4, number 10, Street Chase. Loved its 2 trials. I think it's going to be the strongest in a race that looks where there's a lot of speed on paper. So they'll burn the turf. It should be the strongest late. Around the $5, $5.50 mark looks a great bet. So I'm with race 4, number 10.
All right, so Donnie's gone race 4, number 10, Street Chase. So first starter, Stuart Kendrick and Jim Byrne, drawn barrier 1. So if you can trust Jim Byrne from barrier 1, it should be steaming in because Donnie's on fire again. It's time for the TopSport Steamers, which have been seeing pretty well. As we said, 2 winners last week, TASMANIA and Thunderlips, so good going there. This week, first bet is race 7, number 1. This could be Nico's cash, $20,000 at $1.50 on Mr. Brightside. I did see something amusing the other day. He said, if Jimmy's going to start at $1.25, how good a bet is Mr. Brightside at $1.50 here at Caulfield? That's an interesting way to price things up, but $20,000 at $1.50 looks okay. Looks a nice little bet.
Should just be winning, shouldn't he? So should improve off the first up run. Of course, we saw in the yard. I think it was probably the biggest I've seen him in condition for the first up run. So also I've got a pretty good handle on seeing him in the last 3 seasons, really. So he'll only improve. So good luck to the punter. Parting with their cash there, but I think they're getting the W.
There, race 8, number 8, High Octane. This is Nico's 1,000 at $6.50. So big support there. And then race 8, number 13, Lady Camelot. So $400 at $6.50 there. So a couple of horses that we think have got massive chances there. And the last one is Rosehill, race 4, number 5, Gatsby's, $100 at $31. I think this is.
So we talked about that race, but this
Chris
horse actually.
Waller and Tommy Berry.
Yeah, first starter. Beautiful, long-looking thing. Like it's got a little bit of Divana about it, who was his runner last week that started like 150s and possibly should have been in the finish. I thought this trial might have trialled behind Espionage, like a rocket. The second horse in that trial came out and was heavily backed and didn't do a lot. But this thing then trialled again since, and not fast time, but sort of hit the line under its own steam. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it ran a race at odds and then, came into calculations for races like the size and things like that. It's a beauty. I'm definitely not knocking that bet.
A $220,000 brother to Group 2 winning juvenile. Let's be glam for all the breeding buffs out there. Schnitzel out of Miss Charming.
That's great.
Nice colt. He's a nice colt.
I love big, long neck, especially Schnitzel. So it's an interesting horse.
A little bit of a sprinkle of rain will be beautiful. The Schnitzels love getting their toe in, don't they?
Do they?
They do.
You're telling the story, stats, man.
They do.
Yeah, you're telling the story.
They don't mind a wet track.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I don't go too well in the wet. Nico would play footy good in the wet, I recken.
Mate,
Good wet player.
How many offers? Any more offers since the last show?
No, I'm nearly signed up, so no, definitely not a wet player. Can't pick the ball up off the ground. It's got to hit me on the chest, or else I'm no good.
I'll just have Nico one out the square in the wet. He just pushes his opponent one hand into the mud.
See him sliding
Bang,
off.
see you later, mate. And then you just sit there on the chest. Jay Dunstall.
Actually, if the next time I get Melbourne could be on a plane to watch Nico play, that could inspire
that
me
might
to
be
get back
right.
down.
A couple of cans to sit out there, have a couple of tinnies.
Bloody oath.
Go watch Nico play. That'd be good.
Too much pressure. Too much pressure. That.
Nah, you'd be right, mate. Pressure builds diamonds. Blue Diamond this Saturday. Go watch Scotty Pippen and Horace Grant play basketball, catch the goggles, and just immerse yourself in the punt. Get Nico's Mounting Yard Mail. If you're sick enough, watch Walt's Kick Stream on Friday. And then we'll talk about it all on the live stream on the Wednesday for Launceston Cup Day. So it's going to be a monster weekend of racing. And
I might have to do like a live stream of your live stream, or sit there like abusing you, like the stuff like that. We could let's just stream it to death. It's going to be awesome. I'll be taking part. Rosehill.
What a great idea. All right. Hopefully DK will join us next week. We'll be back to the usual program. I'll be out of the Melbourne studio and can't wait. So big weekend of racing. Good luck.